Hey, what's up guys, aarava here. Welcome back to the episode of my F1 2018 career mode, episode number 121 today for the Russian Grand Prix in Season 6. If you guys did miss the previous one then, the Singapore Grand Prix, then be sure to go check the one out before you see this one. That was a rather entertaining episode for sure, and one of the craziest Singapore races I've ever had, really, in this game so far. But we head into Russia then. Renault do plateau, but now you can really see that difference in the step up they've made. But they weren't obviously they weren't able to use it in Singapore. We'll see if Russia might be any better for them. A lot of the teams now plateauing. I think all of us are maybe waiting on if there is going to be a regulation change potentially coming in at Japan, when they tell us about it usually. I think we're all waiting maybe for that, but obviously a lot of teams do save up for some last minute updates at the end of the season as well. But our task today, obviously, we're level on points now with our teammate Verstappen as we go in to this episode. So our task today is to first and foremost beat Verstappen, and if we can do this at the same time, break his winning streak, because he's been on a 4 winning streak now. He's won the last 4 races. It's quite a fair bit. I don't think I've had an AI that consistent, really, in terms of wins, apart from maybe Alonso in Season 3. So we need to break this cycle, and if that means we need to go out there and win the Russian Grand Prix, then so be it. We need to try and do that, and we need to try and perform. And so that's going to start off with qualifying here. Overcast conditions in Q1, and the Renault was right up my gearbox as I started my flying lap, which I did not appreciate. Carlos Sainz, I think he set his lap time just then, so he was technically on an in-lap, and yet he was still pulling alongside me, trying to overtake me kind of momentarily. He kind of backs out of it, but definitely was a little bit distracting, I can't lie, into turn 2. Almost called it turn 1, but obviously it's turn 2. The kink is always turn 1, but I'm never going to agree with that, but there you go. But yeah, Sainz with a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe tactical, mental, trying to confuse me a little bit, but we get through it eventually anyway in P13. Bit of a slow start though, but the track was pretty cold because it was very overcast conditions. The sun does come out then as we go on into Q2, and hopefully we can perform a little bit better, and obviously we need to get better than P13 if we want to try and progress into the top 10 shootout, and we need to if we want to try and beat our teammate Max Verstappen. But at the moment, HOCKENHEIM going pretty well. Obviously the Mercedes cars have shown some promise in recent races, so let's see. Russia definitely is a bit of a power circuit, and Russia has been a good one for Mercedes in real life, so they might go well here. But we get through into Q3. Hamilton's through, HOCKENHEIM through this time, so both Mercedes could have a chance at going through and making something, but both Renaults are looking equally very strong with a 1-2 there in Q2, so I think maybe we might have a bit more on our plate than last time when it comes to race pace from Renault. But going into Q3, just like Italy, unfortunately, we hit some issues at the very start of the session.
Sit rep, we've got a leak in the hydraulic system, so it's going to be a few minutes before we can get you out on track.
So again, a frustrating fault here that takes way too long and takes the majority of the Q3 session. So I only have 1 run to go with now in this top 10 shootout, just like I had back in Monza, because the time that it took to fix the issue was about 7 minutes or so, and that only left me 4 or 5 minutes to go out there, and so I may as well just wait till the end of the kind of session. Actually, we haven't even waited to the end of the session. We've gone a little bit early because we've got 2 minutes left now, but the checker flag has fallen, and so at the moment Carlos Sainz is on provisional pole position. I don't know where Verstappen is, honestly, in all of that. I want to say maybe he's at the top end, right alongside Sainz, if you had to guess from the previous performances of his, but we go skating across the line, and little did I know, my lap time was good enough for pole position at the Russian Grand Prix. That is absolutely awesome there. You can see how close that was though. So fine between myself and Carlos Sainz there. Verstappen gets P3. Ricciardo with a mistake. He's behind both Mercedes cars, so they'll be very happy with that, but Verstappen down in P3. I'm pole position. This is a brilliant start to the weekend here. From pole, we have a good chance. We'll see how it goes off the start. The Renaults do appear to maybe have a bit more speed on us potentially, so we'll see how the race pace is. At Singapore, it looked like we had a bit more race pace, so hopefully it's the same case here at Sochi, but from pole position, you can't get any better. So let's go to the grids and get into Sunday.
Good afternoon from Sochi as we prepare to get underway for the Russian Grand Prix. The championship battle has some time to go yet, but still expect no quarter to be given here on this circuit that made its debut in 2014 and has already seen some classic racing. Situated just 3 miles from the Georgian border, the 3.6 miles Sochi Autodrome has 2 notable overtaking opportunities into turn 1 and then turn 13. 18 corners in total here, 12 to the right and 6 to the left, and it's an average lap speed of around 130 miles per hour.
So let's have a look then at the starting grid ahead of the Russian Grand Prix for Season 6 of the F1 2018 Career Mode. On pole position is yours truly there in first place in the Red Bull Honda, alongside Carlos Sainz in the first of the Renault cars there on the front row. Verstappen, my teammate, in third place, with Nico Hülkenberg in fourth, Ricciardo fifth place, Gasly in sixth place, with Fernando, Alonso P7, Sergio Perez P8, with Leclerc and Hartley rounding out the top 10. Ocon, Van Dorn next with Kevin Magnussen, and Hamilton in the second Mercedes with a penalty there, P14, with Valtteri Bottas P15 and Grosjean 16th. The next row is all Ferrari, with the last row then Williams with Sergei Sorokin with a further penalty to further solidify that 20th place. And so that's the full grid ahead of the Russian Grand Prix. So here we are then on pole position, only I think the 7th time in our F1 2018 career mode that we've been on pole, and we don't see any car ahead of us apart from the safety car. But strategy for Russia, pretty straightforward, of course. It's going to be a one-stop, the Hypersoft to Ultrasoft tyres. The abrasion is so low around here in Sochi, so it should not be an issue to take these tyres long. We might even make a bit of an undercut, because the undercut can be quite powerful around Sochi, depending on the traffic you get around there after your first pit stop. But Hypers to Ultras, no qualms there. Fuel-wise, we'll fill up a little bit, but we've been reducing it lately because the Honda engine's been really fuel efficient actually as of late with the upgrades we made. You know, we did make that one fuel upgrade I think a few episodes ago, and that really did make a difference I think, and especially, you know, the way the race has been going in terms with the ERS use as well, the fuel just really hasn't been too much of an issue as of late. So yeah, let's just get into it then. We're ready from pole position. We're trying to not only beat Carlos Sainz and the rest of the grid, but more so really just to making sure we beat Max Verstappen and trying to break this deadlock. He's in third place, but you know, he's been on such a hot streak, so let's just find out if he can make it 5 in a row. If he can, it might be really scary times for not only me, but the entirety of Formula 1 right now in Season 6. As we get ready to go then to 5 red lights for the Russian Grand Prix here in Sochi. 27 laps ahead of us from pole position. 5 red lights are out, and we're underway. There's a bit of wheel spin there in first and second gear. Carlos Sainz has a good getaway there on the inside of turn 1. He's going to make it through. He is into first place, so we've already lost the lead now. We'll try and get back in the slipstream though, and desperately try and outbrake Sainz if we can on the outside of turn 2 into turn 3. We're a little bit off circuit there. We come back on. Carlos Sainz though pulls it through. He's able to find the room, and so we slot behind in P2, and so Sainz in a pretty comfortable P1 now. He's even waltzed away from us a little bit in the third turn, so that's a little bit annoying to be honest, I can't lie. But at least Verstappen looks to be overtaken by Ricciardo, so at least it was both a pole start for both me and Verstappen. But now we'll see how it goes on, and how it's going to go on is pretty bad actually, because it looks like we don't have too much straight line speed pace compared to the Renault here. I suspect Ricciardo deploying all the ERS he can as he's waltzing down the inside there, and I just can't really defend him to the inside then of the right-hander. I could have maybe tried to dive bomb him back, but you know, that corner is so tight there that probably would have been a bad bit of contact there. So he's up into P2 now. It's a 1-2 for Renault. Hülkenberg's in P4, so Verstappen's a P5 I think. So it's been a bit of a slow start for both us Red Bull cars, so we have to try and get our socks up there and try and get a move on. But it looks like, unlike Singapore maybe, we don't have the race pace. Although saying that, as we go on through the Grand Prix, lap 5 I started to close back up on him. So you know, 2 laps later I feel like Ricciardo maybe turned down his engine with the rich mix and maybe also the ERS modes he was using, because I was catching up a lot more than I was on lap 3 and 4, and so lap 5 we're within the DRS zone and we are slowly getting back to him. We can also see Carlos Sainz just up the road as well, and by lap 6 we're catching up enough for Dan Ricciardo to go a little bit defensive into turn 2, and enough to actually even brake check as well. We're going so slow there, very awkward indeed, tapping his gearbox through turn 3 as you go past that massive grandstand there on the right hand side. But still P3 and not P2 quite yet, but we might be able to do something finally now on the back straight now. Have a good exit, little bit of a shimmy as we go on the curb a tad, but then overtake mode activated, DRS open, rich mix flowing, and here we go, climbing up the gears and the speed on the outside, then to the inside for the next corner on the right hand side, and we're up into P2. Tiny lock up there, but we get the job done, back up into P2. So like I said, you know, it was a bit disconcerting to see Ricciardo come so fast on lap 2 and overtake us like that, but now, you know, we built the speed up. Clearly he was maybe using more faster engine modes and, you know, better ERS modes earlier, and he turned down everything then as the stint went on, because we were able to catch up to him. But now we make a pit stop, a very early one, lap 8 actually, but that's what my engineer said, come in this lap onto Ultrasoft tyres, and basically, like I said, try and do a bit of an early undercut and see if we can try and stay ahead of Ricciardo and even catch up a little bit to Carlos Sainz, because he was only maybe, I would say, I don't know, 3 seconds up the road I think. So you never know, if he gets hit with a little bit of back marker traffic or just doesn't have a very good in-lap, we could do something. But we're going to have to watch out for traffic ourselves, because I feel a few people have already maybe made pit stops or are going that slow potentially, as we come out of the pit lane. It's a bit of a no man's land at the moment, apart from that Ferrari car right behind us. So the Ferrari's looking very, very slow at the moment. They're down in P14 and P15. But you can see the pace we have. We made that pit stop and we come out in P13. So, you know, usually when we make an early pit stop here at Russia, you come out in like last place usually. So we've got a lot of speed in the car. We're catching up to Valtteri Bottas now. Open up the DRS. We are a little bit far back visually speaking, but we're going to gain so much now with the DRS open here into turn 2. Look how much time we've gained there on the fin. Round the outside, we actually sailed around, drifted around him a little bit as the back end stepped out a tad in turns 2, but we're up into P12. Very smooth move on the outside on the left hand side, but now we move through the laps. Then lap 12, Sainz has made his pit stop, so he's you can see in the top left the car ahead of us. He's on the minimap there, so he has actually maybe gained some time there. So I think we actually maybe lost a bit in the traffic with Bottas there potentially, and also just maybe the ultras just didn't perform as well as I thought the hypers were. Maybe the hypers for the Renaults didn't fall away as much as I thought so, because I was hoping to gain a little bit on Sainz, but I definitely lost some. So now we might be on the threat from Ricciardo. Let's see how this is on the side-by-side action camera here. Where on earth is Ricciardo? He might have gained quite a bit there. There he comes out the pit lane. He's going to be ahead of us just about as we go down towards turn 2. Then we're going to come out neck and neck. We swiped across us! Oh my god! No! That's it! That's our race over! Out of the Russian Grand Prix, Ricciardo on board with him. He didn't even feel much there on the rear end, but he certainly saw me spewing off on the left there. The front right tyre sheared off the car. That is just... it's just such a frustrating ending. We're there, we're fighting for P2 at least. We're ahead of Verstappen by at least 2 positions. And the Russian Grand Prix is over in a snap like that so early on, like a third of the way through the Grand Prix. That is it. That is it. It's our second DNF of the season. The first one being Belgium with the mechanical failure, but that one just a fatal, you know, incident there with Ricciardo swiping across. It looks like from the camera view. And little did I know what actually happened to Verstappen through that race. It's actually going to end up being a doubly bad day for Red Bull Honda this episode, because this is the start into turn 2 on lap 1. This is a replay all the way. This is what I didn't see, was Verstappen getting punted off basically, or half punted by the Force India. He's pushed down the order behind not only Hülkenberg, behind Gasly, behind Perez, and then as he's chasing after Perez here, he gets a puncher right there, a rear right puncher, and so he goes super slow. He has to trundle back to the pit lane, do the entire lap pretty much on a rear right puncher. And so at this point, I saw a yellow flag at the time, but I didn't know it was for him. I just thought it might be in a back marker or something like that, or a slower car like the Williams. He makes an early pit stop and basically just has the entire race at the back of the grid. And so as we get out of the car with our visor down in just pure utter anger, that is a double no points finish for the Red Bull Honda team here today.
A great win then for the Renault team today. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
So it ends up being a 1-2 for Renault then. Carlos Sainz in first place, wins the Grand Prix. Ricciardo second. You can see there though, Verstappen nowhere to be seen. He was in last place for pretty much the entire Grand Prix then. Unbeknownst to me, he had that issue. And of course then we had our own incident with Daniel Ricciardo. And so the Renault guys, I think that might be a sizable impact in both championships. Carlos Sainz now leads the championship out of nowhere. He hasn't been in the lead for about 7 episodes, I think. He's been at least a kind of average 15 points away from the lead for like 7 episodes, and now he leads by 9 points there to both me and Verstappen, who are still level on points because both of us were level going into the episode, and both of us come out of Russia with 0 points. And so all that's happened is both of us have shifted down 1 place, or 2 places rather, in terms of the case of Sainz going up into first place. But that is just That's the weekend to forget. That is the weekend to forget for Red Bull Honda as a team. I mean, constructors-wise, we were really good, so it doesn't affect us much. That, you know, we had a really nice cushion to work with, so we're still in a pretty commanding and comfortable lead in constructors, I want to say, but that basically cannot ever happen again now this season for the sake of our Drivers' Championships and also the Constructors. But That is just, yeah, a weekend to forget for the Russian Grand Prix. We reset, go to Japan next, and we just have to, you know, cast that away. You know, the puncher was unlucky for Verstappen. I think that was unlucky from Ricciardo. You know, it looked like Ricciardo did swipe across quite a fair bit, but at the same time, I don't know, maybe I could have gone a little bit more left. On the grid maybe, but you know the way he was coming out was so awkward that I thought he was giving me the room to kind of, you know, stick with him a little bit and try and slipstream him, but then he just kind of swiped a little bit, didn't react fast enough at all, and then just spewed to the wall, rebounded, a bit of ping pong basically, and bounced back. So there you have it. But we do the contract renegotiation. Luckily for me, I actually got an absolutely awesome contract. Actually, my team, you know, Red Bull really like me still. I mean, unlike Ferrari, Red Bull are a team that actually do value me, even if I do make some mistakes here and there. They see that wasn't really, you know, at least half my fault. That wasn't, and so they offered me still a very, very good contract. First driver, most of the bonus levels for the resource points, the levels of upgrade and stuff like that. So still very, very good contract underneath us for the Red Bull team going for the rest of the season. But in terms of R&D points then, I was wondering really what to do. I was, you know, wondering, okay, chassis, no, we're so close on the chassis front. Really, the only department we're lacking now anymore is the aero, because Renault just made strides there. So I'm going to have to bite the bullet and buy this ultimate upgrade here for the rear downforce we're going to go for. That's going to be a big chunk and step towards Renault, but that's going to come in for the Mexican Grand Prix. So that's 3 races away. So that's quite a bit of time to wait, but when it does come in, it means I can definitely run like 1 or 2 less rear wing on this setup than I think I can usually, which will really help us out in a straight line and help us out against Renault, because it seems like that's what they've done, because Ricciardo early in the race was so quick in a straight line. I feel like Renault have upgraded their aero to the point where they're running lower aero wings than they usually do, so that's going to be the upgrade path for us. The rear downforce, hopefully maybe I'll have enough points next episode or the next 2. I'll also purchase the front one to kind of balance it out, otherwise you have a bit of an unbalanced car, a bit more downforce on the rear rather than the front. You kind of don't want that in any kind of case, but we'll see about that really. But guys, if you did enjoy nonetheless that, you know, very dramatic episode nonetheless, then be sure to smash the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, do get subscribed for weekly full-on content. And yeah, that's been the Russian Grand Prix. I mean, these things happen in Formula 1. You don't have a racing season which is completely bulletproof perfect, so it's definitely one of the weekends to forget. But we'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.